Hi, Charlie. I love you, man. You're the greatest.
God, dude, you give me a headache, man.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
Man, it's terrible, man.
All right,
this
look.
winter, just temperatures is horrible.
All right, listen, Joe. Breaking news. What's going on, man? A bunch of cops on the west side this morning. Give me the quick
Right,
rundown.
I went over there, and all I saw was 2 marked cars, but there was about 4 unmarked cars there. I got there before most of the police.
Okay,
While I was there, another bunch of police cars showed up. And
Joe, we went over this, and you're driving me crazy. What happened? Come on, man.
What happened was, apparently, from what I gathered from the few neighbors that even knew the guy.
Okay, dude, what happened? All right, let me teach you, Joe. Let me teach you something. Okay, listen. The police en masse descended upon a West Side home this morning. A former homicide detective who's retired. It was discovered after his eviction that he had copious files of homicide cases and evidence.
Right, so let me describe the scene to you.
Well, why don't we get it? Hey, Joe, let's give the people the news. A homicide cop took his homework home. A lot of it. People may not have gotten to justice. No, you're not supposed to do that, Joe. And then the police flocked on it this morning. You get there. There's 2 marked cars, 2 unmarked cars. While Joe on the spot is sitting there. What about another 9, 10 cars show up, Joe? Is that it?
I would say probably, and because I don't know which ones were them.
There you go again. Do some reporting, Joe. What happened?
Well,
how many cops were going through the dumpster?
A bunch of cops showed up. When I got there was 2 dumpsters full of stuff that they're carried out of the house, tossed in a dumpster. The front yard was full of stuff that they were getting ready to throw in a dumpster. And around 5 o'clock yesterday is when they found the people evicting the house found this stuff, and they stopped. They called the police, and the police said, okay, don't move anything else. Don't touch anything. They secured the location until they were there till 9 o'clock, and they came back today. There's a file cabinet, not a file cabinet, but a locker, like a bus station locker. We put in a quarter to get the key out of it and use it.
Yeah, Joe.
This thing is as wide as a file cabinet, and there's 3 units tall in the backyard. And they found a bunch of files and stuff in that. And then there's a room in the house that has another, who knows what stuff is in there.
So they found a ton of homicide cases, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So stop talking. Stop talking. They found a bunch of cases. We don't know if they're active or closed. We don't know if they were keepsakes.
We don't know anything about them.
Okay, but that's what we know, right? They descended upon it. There was what, 10 guys going through the dumpster, 10 cops. Yeah.
Right. They were sifting through the stuff that was in the dumpster, in front of the dumpster. I don't know.
Okay, Joe, dude, just be concise. This is a big deal. So listen. I talked to the chief's office. This guy came on. They didn't give his name. He came out. He retired in 2012. These cases, he hasn't worked homicide since 2009. So if these cases are live, say goodbye to any justice, because the chain of custody's been broken. Nobody's going to go to prison for these. It's a colossal fuck up. That's why you saw all those cars. Okay?
Right. They were mad at me for being there trying to ask questions. There was no other reporters in the area.
Good. Well, after that report, I'm not sure there were any. Get it?
He laughed.
That's my boy. No, we're going to work on delivery now, but you did a good job. Again.
It was about 15 degrees, and the wind was blowing.
We didn't ask for a weather report, Joe. We just asked for the report.
I had to go door to door.
Okay, that's great.
Neighbors, because the police were not telling me anything.
But the police had a little bit of an attitude toward you, didn't they?
More than a little bit.
Because this is a big fuck up, man. They don't like it. And there's been a lot of fuck ups lately in the police department. Joe, thanks.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Roll it, Bob.
Nobody bullshit news.
Except that.
You're out of order.
No bullshit news.
Joe!
No bullshit news.
Class is dying. And that's why Trump got elected.
No bullshit news.
Bring it, motherfucker. And I'll flank it off to the ass.
No bullshit news.
I told you we're going to get him there at some point. We're going to get
He's getting better.
I don't think so.
He's Joe. That's his brand. So we'll just.
Well, let's give him a lot of love because he was on his way up 75 to 8 Mile to get some light bulbs for his job, and he turned right around and made a scene.
Well, that's half the battle.
And guess what? Yeah, and he can. You know, you're a cameraman, Bob. He confirmed the lockers with all the stuff in it.
Yeah.
Which is, what a fucking mess. What a mess.
Unbelievable. Well,
So what else is, and I know we don't know this, but just start to think about that. If this is what was found, what else is out there? What else is in someone's home or garage or home locker that we don't know about that may compromise justice for crime victims?
Yes, so let me just say this. We've had the Snapchat issue with the police. That's been going on for a while, right? The white guys pull over a young black girl, expired tags in the middle of a polar vortex, right? Make fun of her, send her walking, take the car, send her walking, right? And then put it up on
Snapchat.
Social media.
Jesus. And there's a bunch of other cops I heard yesterday at the Board of Police Commissioners. They're in a chat room together talking about it. They won't reveal what they were talking about, but this was all part of a group. This is stupid shit.
So it's widespread.
Yeah, now, I know you got feelings on it, Karen, but go ahead, tell me your feelings.
Well, like I said, I think that, I understand the chief said, this officer wasn't hired under his watch. He was already there. But I think at some point there needs to be an evaluation of existing officers to make sure that they are of the caliber that this chief wants to protect residents. So there needs to be a physical, a mental, and a character evaluation. Certainly this isn't the first violation that this officer has had. He's had some, misbehaviors before. But this officer confiscated a vehicle for expired plates. And on social media, when people were responding to the story, there were so many instances of people having been pulled over but only receiving a ticket. Now, he said, well, I offered her a ride home. But what kind of danger was this young lady in, or would she have been in, had she accepted a ride from this guy?
Good question.
I mean, so she's walking home in a neighborhood, probably not well populated. It's sub-zero temperatures. And this guy, that's a serious lack of character and integrity for someone who is sworn to protect and serve.
Well, he proved himself. He's not serving the public. You could tell by his reaction. Okay, but look. Yes, asshole. You can fire him or not. Suspend him without pay or not. But I was off in California when this thing's going on. It's still going on. Look, I'm not dismissing it, and I feel, why even pulling anybody over in the polar vortex for expired tags? You can do it. Right?
That's right, but why are you making her walk home?
Why are you even doing it? Leave her the fuck alone.
Her car?
Do it when it's 40 degrees. Okay, do it when it's 40 degrees. Fine. Why is this thing, and I'm not dismissing it, people are pissed, and it was what the board meeting was about yesterday, almost exclusively. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what happened to the commander of the 11th precinct who was moonlighting as a security guard on Patty's Day and smashed the guy's head on the ground and put him in a coma?
Yeah.
What happened to the two groups of undercover cops who didn't know they were cops, who put guns on each other thinking they're civilians?
I remember that.
What happened to that? What about all the crime numbers Steve Needling and I went through? They haven't been disputed. 55 minutes on a 911 call. They haven't been disputed. These are the bigger issues. These are how the people get screwed. This is yesterday at the meeting, one commissioner who's not part of the Duggan machine, and Duggan gets a lot of people elected and pays for them, gives them Tiger tickets and Lions tickets.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, Willie Burton is sort of an independent guy. He was trying to ask for a federal investigation into the spurious crime data. And he's yelling, and they adjourn the meeting. And I'm like, why aren't we getting a true answer on it? Because this is everybody's money, it's everybody's life, it's that young woman, whether you're getting pulled over or not. What happens when she does want the police?
Good question.
Yeah.
Well, and you would think she might have wanted the police to get her home for whatever reason.
And exactly, if in fact for some reason her car had to have been confiscated, her safety should have also been a priority.
Right.
It was not.
They offered her.
Go ahead and walk home.
They
it's
offered
fine.
her a ride.
You're getting a ride with a police officer who
just took your car.
And who's clearly antagonistic. And you can tell a person if they are not, his demeanor was probably, quite intimidating and threatening to her. She knew, her sixth sense was like, I'm not getting in the car with this guy.
Right.
Yeah, well, I can't even argue with that. But I got to say, and I'm not going to pander. I'm tired of saying I respect police and we need them. And it's a hard job. Period. Done. Bob, who'd I pull up with? My car wouldn't start this morning. Who drove me here?
You pulled up with the
with a cop.
With a cop.
With a cop.
And then you guys
Cops
turn
are-
and then
Were
you
you in
turn
the
your
front or
lights
the back,
and then you turn
Charlie?
the lights and sirens on me.
Were you in the front or the back,
Why
Charlie?
the fuck
He
you
was
got to
in the
give him
front.
up, Bob? Why you got to give the cop
I want
up?
to know, were you in the front or the back?
I was in the front.
Okay, well, that makes a difference.
Just saw me walking. I was like, I don't know. It's polar vortex out there.
I thought I was getting pulled over.
Good
until
thing
I saw
you weren't
Charlie.
a young black girl.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
but that is crazy. Like,
It
just
is.
go ahead and walk home. In a rough neighborhood,
And it's
middle
dark.
Of the night,
It's-
and
that's
it's freezing
insane.
cold.
But watch this. They could have done this. Okay, drive to your residence. Get out. We're gonna tow the car.
And then we'll take your car.
Yeah, but think of the cop's point of view on that. Do I want to let her do that? Will there be a chase if I pull up in the neighborhood and they see us? What kind of shit's gonna come my way out of these houses?
Well, can I say this, Charlie?
So let me say this.
All right.
It's unsolvable except for the fact that dumb fucks putting shit like that,
On social media.
and you're letting us know, dude.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for that because I want to know. I want to know that there is an officer out there like that. Everybody needs to know. So I'm glad that he's stupid enough to put his ignorance
On social media.
on social media.
Well, I'm going to go right to the top. Yeah, I know they're out there, but I'm going to go, where are our police? Like, here we go. Here's the assistant chief of police answering what we wrote about, which is, hey, the poorer the zip code, we ran the numbers, the slower the police are.
Right.
That's all we're saying.
The less likely you are to get help.
That I didn't say that. It's
I'm
just
saying that.
slower.
Right.
Okay, so
Slower.
without talking to me, they go to the Detroit News, but not to me. And let's see here. Assistant Police Chief James White addressed the board, the police commissioners, last week, saying, quote, I emphatically reject the mischaracterization of that report. So the English isn't even proper, the mischaracterization of the report. I have spent
And he's not talking to you. He's talking to the news.
He's basically saying
Charlie's wrong.
The report mischaracterized what's going on is what you meant to say, sir.
Right.
And we had the other assistant chief of police on here, and he couldn't answer either. Y'all remember out there? Come on now. He says, quote, I spent a number of hours reviewing every aspect of that report, and to be candid, I think it's irresponsible for anyone to present that report as factual. It is not. Now, furthermore, listen to this. It is no secret that in certain areas of the city, the resource drain is higher than in other areas of the city, and that could have an economic nexus, White told the board. But we don't measure the economics of a community before we decide to move resources to that community. Understand what he's saying? He's saying it's slower. He's saying it's slower, not because they don't put cops there, but because there's a lot of calls. So naturally, if you got a lot of calls, cops are tied up, right? And you're going to be slower. Well, then put
makes no sense.
More cops.
fucking cops where there's more trouble, which he says we do. We put, quote, cops on dots, and we reassess it every 28 days. I would do it every day. And it's, like he was saying the 9th precinct has 4 times as many 911 calls as the 3rd precinct. 4 times as many.
So they should have 4 times as many
Cops.
Cops.
But they got twice as many cops. Not 4 times as many cops. So I'm just saying in this case, hey man, you can wait longer. There's more shit going on in your neighborhood. That's all I'm saying. He's not rejecting that. Don't call me a liar. And then they want Muckraker and I to bring our stats to them so they can tell us where it's wrong. They're not going to give us theirs. Except, now dig this, LeDuff is not invited. You know what I mean?
They tell you to bring your stats, but you don't come.
Yeah, bring your analysis, but not you. I call bullshit.
That is bullshit.
Anyway, look here. We're
this
back.
This is the no bullshit.
What did your promo say, Charlie? You're out of order, Charlie.
This is bull. I'm not. Look, I sit in my basement.
Lower level.
Is a guy not employed by a big media concern driving this shit? You know what I mean? Drive. Where are we? I'm sorry, guys. We got to do this every week, but I'm not quitting till we get the answer.
Well, and the crazy thing is they take exception with what you and Needling write and then ask you to come present your statistics, but you don't come.
Because I know.
Right. They're afraid.
I know. Remember, the response time's 23 minutes for Priority 2. It's 55 minutes, dude. And then the other guy, the other assistant chief, says it's 33 minutes. You can't keep doing it. Because it goes to the...
For the Priority 2?
Yeah.
Because that's what they were mixing in the traffic stops, right?
Yeah. 0 response time.
Right.
We took those out. We were generous. And it goes down to that young woman. And so, with the precious police resources, what are we doing? What are we doing? Pulling her over in a storm? That's what they do?
And making her walk home in minus 15-degree weather?
But, Charlie, let me go back to what I was about to say. If, in fact, you are afraid of people, if you are afraid of certain neighborhoods, if you are not willing or capable or committed to familiarizing yourself with those things that are unfamiliar to you, including people, then you don't deserve to be an officer. You don't. You cannot be a white officer and be afraid of black people or the other way around. You cannot be afraid of neighborhoods because the houses are less than stellar or well taken care of. You cannot do that. This is a city of varied socioeconomic residents, levels, peoples, color, all that stuff. If any of those things are threatening to you, you don't deserve to wear the badge.
Well, and you can't do the job.
You cannot do the job.
Not effectively.
Which begs the question, you don't think black officers are concerned for their safety, their own safety?
No, that's what I'm saying. It goes both ways. I said it all the way around. I was using that as an example, but that's for everybody. But they are concerned for their safety, which is why they don't live in the city, which is why, because for their families, the school system, the crime numbers. Yeah, they are concerned. They're human, too.
It's rugged shit out there in the real world when the TV's not on and you're not got your nose buried in your phone. So,
and you're not living in Midtown or downtown.
Well, life's rugged, even there, man.
Yeah.
That's a tough joint. They don't get New York City response times there either, and there's a ton of property crime. But he knows it. You don't go to a Red Wing game and leave your car on the street.
But they do.
No.
And they leave their purses on the seat.
Let me just do this here.
Maybe that's why people are taking things into their own hands, and we see so many shootings. People are trying to protect themselves.
Or we're seeing, I
can't call the cops, so I'll
20 justifiable homicides. I'm going to take care of it. Right? I can't wait. 20 justifiable homicides a year.
Can you define a justifiable homicide?
You kill somebody when they're in the commission of a felony that's life-threatening to you or to someone else. Yeah. So basically, you're a liquor store owner, guy comes in with a gun. Yeah, motherfucker, blam. Normally, you might hit an alarm and get a response. Something like that.
But you know what? It still counts.
Somebody's breaking into your house. Okay.
You have to
I'm going to get my gun first. I would too. I'm getting my gun first, but I'm trying to call 911. You know what I mean?
Well, but if somebody's breaking in your house, you're going to call 911. You're going to get your gun. You can't wait 23 minutes, maybe
55 minutes.
But you have to feel as though your life is threatened in order to shoot someone. Right. You can't shoot someone for stealing a bike, your car, or if that person is running away from you.
You have to feel threatened.
You have to feel your life. You have to feel as though your life is threatened before you can pull the trigger.
Yeah, I'm just, you know what? You simply say that.
I understand that.
I felt my life was threatened. Well, he was stealing the bike, but he turned. I told him put the bike down. He turned. I feared for my life.
Gotcha. I'm just saying.
No, right. Yeah. That's it. So let me say this: we're back. I was gone last week. I was out in California.
Welcome back.
Hanging out.
Thank you. Nice Writers Convention.
Missed the cold snap.
Had a few pops with Sean Penn.
Ooh.
Nice guy. Bad hair dye.
I told Charlie he's out there saying the same thing. Hey, I had a few drinks with Charlie LeDuff.
Nice guy, bad hair.
No, he was nice. I was on the phone with somebody in Detroit, right? And just sitting there with my shorts and tank top, and he comes walking up for breakfast. I go, "Hey, Sean, what up, man?" There's Sean Penn. Listen, go to www.nobsnewshour. That's where you'll find us. Download the app so you can get the show. Subscribe, listen, and rate us. How's that?
Give us a good rating.
And share. Tell everybody else about it, too.
Yeah, that's it. Now, look, I want to welcome to the show a new friend, brand new friend. Right, where's my glasses? Oh, here they are, right. Now, people like you, our listeners out there in podcast land, have so many misconceptions about eye surgery. What you do know is that you're tired of glasses. There you go. Tired of glasses, contacts.
I'm tired of glasses.
Reading glasses, and ever-changing prescriptions. And you're frustrated because when you take out your contacts, put down your glasses, or forget your reading glasses, like I always do, they keep breaking. You still can't see! Each week, thanks to Dr. Yaldo, Michigan's most experienced eye surgeon, many of you get to throw away all that ancient technology and walk out of his office with 20/20 vision or better and begin your new lifestyle free from glasses and contacts. From custom CATS LASIK, the most advanced in the world, to the Rolls-Royce procedure, multifocal lens implants for people 50 plus. Oh.
That doesn't include us, Charlie.
That includes me, Karen.
No, it doesn't.
You're forever 28. Dr. Yaldo has performed some 50,000 combined procedures.
He knows what he's doing.
Knows what he's doing. He's premier.
Yeah.
Here's the bottom line. The evaluation is free. Free.
Free is good.
Nice.
You want to go, Karen?
I'm good.
No, you're going to go. We're going to get a free evaluation.
Oh, are we? Okay.
Yes, it's free.
Well, okay. If you go, I'll go.
Okay,
you go first, and we'll go together.
Dr. Yaldo, we're coming.
We're coming.
We're coming,
Check
brother.
it out.
I'm going to do that.
Let's take Bob too. Let's not.
Bob,
leave him
yeah,
out.
Bob's
got reading
I
glasses.
got the readers.
Those look like shit.
Yeah.
They look terrible. We're going to go see Yaldo and fix you up.
They were $12 at Kmart.
He does liver transplants as well.
Look,
No, he
that was
doesn't.
closed. Liver transplants.
Listen, you guys. You got nothing to lose by making the call. 1-800-398-EYES. EYES. 1-800-398-EYES. And if you have a fresh health savings account or a tax return coming, it is tax season, use it to change your life. 1-800-398-EYES. Or go to YaldoEyeCenter.com. YALDO eyecenter.com. Welcome aboard, Doc. We'll be seeing you soon.
Welcome to the gang.
Okay.
We'll be seeing you soon. That was pretty cool, Charlie.
Thank you very much. Oh,
That was good.
sweet.
Look at you.
Okay, remember when we first began the show, like first month or so, Bob?
Yes, I do.
And we had the Crime Town Boys on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they were
great.
And they were promising it was going to be
And they were coming to Detroit, and they were going to look in Detroit.
And have Kwame Kilpatrick on. And, well, they got him. And they got Christine Beatty, his former chief of staff, lovers, text messages they lied on the stand about, which started the whole thing rolling. By their permission, thanks John White, Crime Town, and I've been involved with the show. Here's some stuff. Go to Spotify, Crime Town. It's pretty awesome. So here's a little take from a recent show.
Kwame and Christine were getting sloppy. More and more people around them suspected they were having an affair. And one of their biggest mistakes, all those text messages they were sending on their city-issued pagers.
Were there any moments where you almost got caught?
So I remember, I think Kwame had texted some message like something, I love you. It was something like that. And Lou read my pager, and he was like, what? And I remember thinking, oh my God, like, this is a problem. Like, okay.
How did you spin it?
I mean, I was like, this is just like my boy. We was, we were talking about something, and he was, I did the, as much spin as I could. But yeah, where my failure was is that I let Kwame in that space. I became so in love with him and the idea of him, and there was really no coming back after, for my husband. We're at counseling. Well, I'm not being honest. I'm being very disingenuous because I'm not revealing, I'm having an affair. And unfortunately, my husband and I did get a divorce. You got the warning. Do you know what I'm saying? You got the warning to stop. You got the warning to quit. And then so when it blows up in your face to that magnitude, you can only blame yourself because you should have stopped. You should have stopped.
I'm sorry, but it seems like such a huge risk. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just you're a married guy and having affairs, but you're the mayor of a, major U.S. city, and all eyes are on you.
So you're talking about a guy who at 25 years old took the risk of running for the state house, and the guy who runs for mayor of a major city at 30 years old. Taking risk was normal. It wasn't risk, John. It was just life.
I mean, weren't you ever worried about what you'd lose if you were ever found out?
No.
Why not?
Because I didn't think that far down the line. Did I ever see myself sitting in a prison because I lied under oath about an affair? No. I thought that, like most men when they're in that situation, I can handle it. And how wrong I was.
Well, when did it end?
I think the biggest break in it was in 2005, right before the election. It came to a time when I sat down and had a conversation with Carlita. And I told her I was exhausted, and we had a heart-to-heart. We decided that it was time to really try to figure out how to reignite our marriage. And so I had a very tough conversation with Christine in 2005. Went to her home, and we had a conversation.
Cut it. I don't want to hear shit about his marriage anymore. All right, Karen. He's not in prison is he? For text messages and loving someone?
I think you heard, as John said, lying under oath about the affair was the domino that started to topple everything. And I believe that it was as well. So,
Skip, are you on?
I'm here.
Okay, let me say this. Karen, you worked in Kilpatrick's administration. Skip, did you?
No, I didn't, but I, of course, watched it very close. My brother was a consultant in his administration.
And this is Skip Mongo. He's City Hall insider. Dude, let me just say this. Shit, there's so much to talk to you about. Your life is in this podcast as well.
Yeah, it is. My young life, yeah.
As a guy running with the Young Boys Incorporated.
Yeah.
Dude, you're like man, we got to get a drink. Anyway, so, Karen, you're saying it's the domino that begins to fall. Skip, do you believe that Kilpatrick's in prison because he's having an affair and that starts to make everything tumble?
No, it's the affair is, again, it's two sides to this. As you know, it's a state side and it's a federal side. The state, the affair had everything to do with the state system, the Wayne County, and when he went to jail, I guess he did end up going to prison ultimately for that. But what he's in prison for now, I understand they had been investigating him since '99, since he was little. And, it was an investigation that just built up and built up. You got to understand, I always tell people, when you know that the feds are on you, man, you have to look in your rearview mirror and think about all of the sloppy stuff that you've done before you realize that you were even being investigated.
Now, So, Karen, he's saying this. Look, you lie under oath. You push the cops off a porch. Granholm and Mike Cox, the Attorney General, and Kilworthy, the Wayne County prosecutor, they're going after you for that shit, right? He's not in prison for sex messages and cheating on his wife. He's in prison for bribery, extortion, racketeering, steering contracts. However, it's doubtful that thing ever would have come full circle if he hadn't fucked himself like this. That's how I see it. Well, how do you see it?
Well, and I kind of agree, and that's what I was saying, is that perjury, people who don't commit perjury think that perjury is the worst thing in the world. And so, to me, that was the domino that set everything else off. If you're going to lie on the stand about an affair, that opens you up for everything, for every other accusation.
You're going to lie about everything.
Whether real or not. I mean, that was the perception that was set forth by that incident.
Skip?
Really, I disagree with that because, again, and let's just be real, man.
Well, that's what we do. This is no bullshit news.
Right, it's no bullshit, so let's stop bullshitting. We wouldn't even have a court system if at least one person every single day in each one of those courtrooms didn't perjure themselves. And I've yet to see anyone, particularly in a civil case, go to jail for perjury or start or a federal investigation or any type of investigation that, for that matter, is started against an individual because they got on the stand and perjured themselves. I think this was a combination.
I don't think it started that way, Skip.
And I don't think it escalated because of that. I think that if he wouldn't have perjured himself, I think that was Kim Worthy getting her part of the meat, if you will. It's like, okay, let me take a chunk out of him right fast.
Well, but they had something to point to. They could point to the fact that he lied on the stand.
Say that again?
They had something to point to. They pointed to the fact that he lied on the stand, so it was off to the races.
Yeah, but the feds had already been at the races. Again, if you look at that whole case, you'll see the feds had been on him. What opened this investigation up was a guy who ran these homeless shelters. I think it was called Doorstep.
Yeah,
John Rutherford.
Yep, John Rutherford. Yeah, you're right.
Right. John Rutherford back in 99 gave Kwame, it was money that was earmarked for something dealing with the homeless, and he gave him $50,000 to do campaign work with. And this is what got him on the Fed's radar screen. And again, when you're doing wrong and you don't know that you're being watched, man, you don't slow down. You're not careful. Yeah, you don't. You
notice,
don't be
but you notice. Yeah. You notice that the media wasn't on the contracts and Bobby Ferguson and his.
None of that.
They weren't. So it became a surprise to everybody. Now I don't know if the feds would have actually even come with a case, but I do know this, and I'll leave the names out of it. But everybody hear me clearly, because those whose names I'm leaving out know who they are. The U.S. Attorney's Office didn't want to bring the federal corruption charges or trial, and the FBI office was pissed. The U.S. Attorney's Office said, he's gone. It's done. It's clean. Let's move along. And the FBI office is like, fuck no. So what you saw when this was all said and done were headlines, corruption is over in Detroit. And all you did, I think, was cut the tail off the salamander. You never got its head.
Oh, no. Oh, hell no.
What do you mean, hell no? What do you mean?
Didn't get the head at all. No. And listen, man, and once you cut the tail off the salamander, listen, that head just kept going, and another tail grew. But that head grew stronger and stronger.
Karen's shaking her head, yes, like she's smiling.
Yeah, and I don't name names. If the Justice Department was truly, and I'm not going to say that they're not fair, I'll give them this. Maybe they just slept on a few things. Listen, there was no government more corrupt than Wayne County government under Ed McNamara. No government more corrupt. I mean, it was like, listen, man, I've been in 2 raids in my life. And one was at 600 Randolph. The FBI stormed that building like it was a crack house.
And the other time you got busted was in the crack house, right?
Listen, man, let me tell you this. No, and for the record, I never sold crack, but it was something like that. Let me tell you. but I never went to jail. Me knock on wood. It was a mistaken identity. I just happened to be visiting someone at the wrong time. So listen, just like same thing at the Wayne County building.
That's what you said at Wayne County. I'm just visiting, man.
I'm just visiting. So I read the search warrant. And the search warrant, I've never heard of anything like this before. It was so, what do you call it when that net was so wide.
So intricate and detailed?
Man, I will remember this for the rest of my life. So they had floppy disk computers, copy machines, all the usual things, file cabinets, files. They had this was spelled out, if you could get your hands on it. It said Post-it notes with scrabble on it. The word scrabble was actually typed up.
In the subpoena.
And I looked at that and I said, man, the only thing they didn't have on there really, man, was lint on the floor. They took everything out of there. Now, out of all of that, guess who got indicted behind that? A guy named Wilborn Kelly and his wife.
He with the suits and she with the carpet.
That's right. A rug and him a suit, her a dress as well for the presidential inauguration. So it's like...
Wait, let me say this for the audience. This was all back turn of the century having to do with all the no-bid contracts going down at the Metro Airport. Yeah.
That's right.
Like 80, 90% are no-bid contracts.
That whole McNamara terminal was built built on corruption, if you will.
Why do you bring up Wayne County and McNamara?
Because we're talking about, you talked about cutting the tail off of the salamander. And we talking about the head that drove the corruption. Wayne County certainly was a part of, and a lot of those players were still around under the Kilpatrick administration.
Oh, God damn it, Aaron. I'll do it because it's in my book, by the way, Shit Show. Country's collapsing, the ratings are great. And I'll bring you up to speed, Skip, about what's going on. McNamara went like this. This was that machine. Ed McNamara on the top, right? CEO of Wayne County. The deputy CEO is Mike Duggan, currently the mayor of Detroit and the head of the Democratic machine. The number 3 in that whole administration was Bernard Kilpatrick, the chief of staff for McNamara, right? Kwame's father. The number 4 in that machine was the Corporation Counsel for Wayne County, who was
a lady by the name of
Jennifer Granholm. Very big. Now, they're all around. In fact, Duggan has got a lot of problems. I don't know if you know that. He's out of town. We don't know when he's coming back and when he's leaving again. But I don't know if you've been paying attention, Skip. All those demo holes, that $250 million in federal money that came here to knock down these houses and clean up the city.
Yeah, with the bad dirt, with the 300 holes that are still open to this day.
Well, right now there's 300, but now
with dead dogs in them.
Dead dogs. So you've been hearing too, huh?
So he knows.
He's an insider. Of course he knows.
He's you want Skip Mongo or Skip Thompson?
Listen, I'm just nosy. I keep my ear up certain walls, and
that's why you're the insider, and people talk to you and hire you to do political stuff, like run campaigns and whatnot. But of those 10,000 holes, they're worried like 5,000 of them. They don't know. There's no records of it. That could have been contaminated highway dirt. Take my word for it. The EPA, who was supposed to be looking after Flint, that same office, right, says this now. We don't comment on ongoing investigations. Nobody asked you about the federal investigation. Then they say, Detroit's responsible. Oh, shit. You want to know how much it costs to dig up a hole and refill it?
How much?
$10,000.
$10,000.
Times that by 5,000 holes. What you got?
I got a lot of federal money that I can't
About $50 million.
$50 million.
Plus, if you did it fraudulently, you put in paperwork, right, that said we got it from here, and you didn't, it could be another $3,000.
$25 million.
Plus the fines.
Right.
Dude, the feds, nobody knows it. Again, me and my underpants, you now know it. We now know, once I revealed those subpoenas about the dirt, right? The newspapers are on it. Keep your eye downtown. What's the mood downtown?
Well, let me say this.
Okay,
if
say
I
what
can.
you want.
You say you call me insider, but
well, you know what I mean. You know what's up.
Things. Let me finish. Okay. I pay close attention to things, and I have I have almost excellent memory. So there's a guy who was a pretty popular TV journalist a couple of years ago in the city of Detroit. And it may have been his last week on the job, and I remember standing outside with him. I remember it was raining, and I may have got sick this day because we stood outside for about an hour and a half. And he ran all of these things down on me. And I'm listening, and I'm taking them in because I still remember a lot of them. And the things that he told me that was happening and the fallback behind it, this is what you look for. Again, this was a couple years ago. I swear, every day I'm seeing it come to life in the news. So that's why I can almost tell you what's going to happen tomorrow, because I remember what he said was going to happen next, and this is what's happening, and this has happened.
So tell us what's going to happen next, Skip. What do we look for?
Well, we're looking for, and people may, I've heard some people say, I've been hearing this forever. I don't know who, but there's certainly going to be some indictments behind this.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Now,
and there should be.
And the person never told me who would be indicted, but he told me, he said, listen, there are subpoenas out now. People are being questioned. Then he told me look for the sealed indictments. And, again, I knew about all of this stuff, heard about all of this. And I never doubted my brother.
He sounds pretty impressive.
He is very impressive.
Probably handsome.
That's why I don't understand why he doesn't have his own show on. A lot of people don't read. He does a lot of writing. I just wish he'd come back in a visual sense.
I tell you what, I have him on this show. Hold on a second. How are you? I'm really great. You sure are handsome. Thank you, brother. So are you. This is great. What's your name?
See what you started.
Arlie Duffley. It's coming true, Skip.
Listen.
There ain't no way. Because look here, man. Look, I remember that quite well, too. I don't know. This is everybody now. Black, white, suburban, city, Arab, Latino, male, female, old, babies. I don't know how we've been convinced of things like this. Let's move our county courthouse next to a garbage dump and incinerator. I don't know how we give away what little property is left at below market value.
I had no idea about wires running through telephone poles and things like that, and the significance of them and giving them away until, that it was put in my ear. It's crazy.
It is downtown, sort of. If it's really awesome sauce, comeback city, the vibe down there is not good. It's really sort of hostile and morose and cloudy, and everybody's leaving.
Man, the divide in the city is so frightening. I know I'm a student of history, and I'm a student of human behavior. We're one broken window or one police stop or one black girl magic walk away from a major incident, a Ferguson-type incident.
Man, I heard exactly that yesterday. And I need to do this. Say it, brother. I need to do this. Because I also circulate in white parts. Do you know how fucking angry working people are? White people. I've said that one. Let me be specific about them. They got nothing. And shit comes out of their pockets, and they don't know where it goes. And there's nothing really left for the kid. You understand?
That's right.
Hockey, the bailout of a Detroit public school also comes from white people. And then their schools are shit. and then it's on their tax bill.
That's right.
And it's like,
if you don't think they're angry, look to Washington, D.C. and the White House. That's a result of their anger.
It's true.
Yeah.
And then again, a lot of them went Bernie, dude. And a lot of those people went Obama. Don't forget that. They're looking for fucking help. So what I'm saying is, we don't need no bullshit, take a walk, flashy black girl, or shitty schools for people's kids. We got to come together so we don't burn the shit down.
That's right, man. 67 was not a race riot. 67 was not a race riot. It was a have versus the have-nots rebellion. I collect old publications. I have a Life magazine from 1967, July of 67. And it features the Detroit riots. I got into an argument with a professor in school before. He told me it was a race riot. No white people were looting.
What the
I
fuck?
brought the magazine to school. I opened it up. There was a white guy running up an alley with a 16-inch or 18-inch TV on his shoulder. So, man, yeah, we in this together, and they understand that.
My father said it was a fucking party. By day 3 or 4, it was just like everybody was taking shit. I'm not going to say half the people arrested were white, but a lot of them were white.
Right.
But
because they were the have-nots.
But I was going to say another component of that. I actually interviewed my former track coach on the show once, and he talked about, because all the stores in the neighborhoods were burned and everything, nothing was open, that at a certain point, in order to feed your family, you almost had to go loot. Stores were open, no one was there, and so you had to go.
Another component about it,
and steal a loaf of bread.
Demolition company at the time. This is a true story. My dad said he had a contract with a guy, with a merchant, who owned a store on 12th or Linwood, somewhere down there. He was given permission at the time during the middle, like the second day, to go in and assess what it was that he had to go and tear down. Man, let's just say he signed the contract for 1, 2, 3, 4 Claremont. He goes down there that day, the store was still standing. He goes the next day, it's burnt to the ground. So a lot of that was going on as well. People were getting out any way they could.
Well, let me just tell you about growing up in a blue-collar suburb. I had a track coach. My stepbrother, Terry. And that motherfucker taught me the 100-yard dash and how to do it with a fucking 12-pack you just stole out the 7-Eleven.
That's a track coach.
That's much better in a fucking uprising or a rebellion or an anger, man. Because
he was your track coach and your football coach.
And then he stole my fucking beer.
So you were the runner, Charlie.
Yeah, you were just the runner.
Different kind of runner.
But that's the thing. Everybody got to remember, right now it's not too late. See, because when it does light off, and trust me, I've been around at the Bundy Ranch, services aren't provided when things burn and bullets go. Bread doesn't show up.
It's true.
Out there at the Bundy Ranch, man, they had porta-johns for all them cowboys, right?
Right.
But the shithouse pump guy didn't come because it was the middle of a bunch of motherfuckers
That's
with
right,
guns.
Charlie. Man, listen, I'm so glad you brought that up. I swear to you, I just had this conversation yesterday. Like I told people, someone said, yeah, they'll be burning downtown. I'm like, maybe they won't. Maybe downtown will be a fortress. But let me tell you what the effects. If I'm living in Farmington Hills and I work downtown Detroit and I have to take Northwestern to the Lodge Freeway, I'm going to think I'm not going to come to work that day or the next day or the following day when I look up over the bridge and I see the whole city burning. So they can burn from 8 Mile to Finkel or from Dexter to Linwood, wherever they burn up. It's going to affect the commerce downtown. You're absolutely right. People are not going to come into a war zone.
And
They're not gonna
watch
come.
this. So I don't want to talk fire and brimstone and perhapses, right? But if that did happen, that hurts Farmington, right? So now we already did it. They left. They're not a goddamn GM factory in Detroit now. They're closing one in Warren now. And no new ones are coming to us, right? So right now, All of us. The world looks at us and says, those people. All of us.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
We can't have
And let me
this.
tell you another thing, if I may, just add this small component to it. Charlie, you met my boy, Pep, the guy who he was ahead of the young boy.
Yeah, I did.
I get a phone call from him one night. He's at his friend's towing company on Grand River. Man, it's late at night. He like, man, listen, I'm hearing in the background faintly, pop, pop, pop. He said, I'm out here watching two guys shooting it out with the state police. They've been out here for 10 minutes. It's two guys versus about 10 state police. The two guys had the state police pinned down for about 10 or 15 minutes. Now multiply that by, let's just say 1,000. Because every young guy out here now, you know what they have? They don't have 38s and 45s. They got AK-47s and AR-15s. And like, I'm not well versed on the Bible, but I know it's somewhere in there that God said, never again, or it'll be fire the next time or whatever. This, if, like you said, and I'm not wishing it, I pray to God. I love Detroit. I hope it doesn't happen. But if it does happen, it's not going to be no bottle throwing. It's not going to be no windows broken. Man, it's going to be shootouts. It's going to be total.
How the hell did we get down to Armageddon here? What are we doing? Listen, it's all good. It's good in the hood. We're coming back. Crime's down. Police get there. New tax revenue. Jobs.
Talk to Police Commissioner Woolley Burton, who, to my understanding, he and the police chief got into a verbal boxing match yesterday because said that. Oh, you were there.
I was there. Yeah.
Where he talked about old ladies being raped, and the police don't show up for 28 minutes.
Yes.
And that type of stuff. So that's how we got there, man.
So let's go like that. We fix it now. Enough shiny bullshit. There's no bullshit. We got issues, and we can fix them.
We can fix them. We run Karen Dumas for mayor, and you be the City Hall insider, Charlie. You've been out here with the people. You smell the smoke.
So will you be my deputy, Skip?
I'll listen. Yeah, I absolutely
I caught
will.
you off. Okay.
What was that?
And Charlie can be
only if we make Charlie the chief of
That's
police.
what I just said. Charlie can be chief.
Why would I do that?
Because you know what to do.
Then I'd actually have to do something and stop running my mouth all the time. That's a thankless.
But you know what to do, though, Charlie. You know what needs to be done.
Well, look, it's a thankless job.
There's a lot of frustration in the neighborhoods, and it appears to be quiet because, again, it's not part of the control narrative that's delivered every day. But people in the neighborhoods are extremely frustrated and they feel ostracized from what appears to be going on in the form of progress in this city. So there is a lot of pent-up anger. There is a lot of pent-up frustration. There is a lot of pent-up disappointment. How is that going to manifest itself? I agree with Skip. It's just a matter of time. We're going to see. Maybe, hopefully not bad, but something is going to happen.
Well, and I agree with Skip. It's not going to be throwing bottles and
no, it's not.
It's going to be a shootout.
But you can't be afraid of those people and try to solve those problems, Charlie. That's the issue.
You got to engage those people.
But not if you're afraid of them.
Wait. Our people.
Yeah.
I understand.
What is this? What's what's with this riot talk shit? You would think that this great economy of ours is on the ropes, or maybe
it's a great economy for who? For the 1%.
There you go again.
The economy is not reaching the hood. Yeah, you would think that.
It ain't reaching the trailer park.
It ain't reaching the middle class either.
No, it ain't.
But that's what I said some time ago. That if in fact there's not a race riot, it is more likely to be a class riot. It's going to be, as Skip indicated, what happened in '67. It's the haves versus the have-nots.
Right
and
on.
that divide is greater now than ever before.
Yeah.
And you said, man, listen, let me tell you something. The similarities are it's frightening. The complexions have just changed. You go in some of these neighborhood stores, and I'm not placing a blanket indictment over any one race of people or merchants or whatever, but a lot of them are going to them, man. You can smell the rotten meat before you hit aisle one. You can, and I've seen people arguing, just simply asking for their money back because they want a quality product. And all of that type of stuff, man, where frustration sets in, where somebody gets robbed at the gas station and the police don't come. Then they go home and they got rotten meat on the table. And you know, it's just all type. And again, the great economy is not reaching the middle class.
It's not, dude.
No, it's not.
It ain't reaching me. I'm telling you right now.
And those on the lower end of the spectrum. I don't like to use the word poor because I believe poor is a state of mind.
Right.
Broke can be fixed.
Broke is broke.
But you've got people struggling, you know, trying to make it check to check and juggling childcare and, you know, trying to figure out what to do and how to do. That's not a good place to be.
No, we all know it.
It's not.
We all know it.
And they're getting the shortest end of the stick.
One thing I do know about, and maybe the people have changed, but one thing about Detroit and Detroiters, Detroit is the only place in the United States of America where federal troops had to be called in on 3 separate occasions. Once it got out of control here, it got totally out of control.
Hey, Skip.
And I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
You read my other book, Detroit: An American Autopsy. That's not only were we occupied the United States Army 3 times, they were all race related, and they were all during wartime. 1863, 1943, 1967.
That's right.
Yeah. They were all
67 was not the first. That's the thing. And people tend to
think it is.
They do think it was. But Skip, can I ask Skip a question kind of a little bit off? Just, you know, we've been getting some complaints or issues where, you know, black people don't feel welcome at certain restaurants, or, you know, the feeling of being ostracized or not welcome. How does that play out in a city that continues to be predominantly African American? Like, where are we going?
You know what? I think I ask myself that all the time. And let me tell you how that plays out. It only plays out for so long. It's incidents like that, little small incidents where people are not feel welcome before someone just gets angry. You saw the movie Do the Right Thing. Was it Do the Right Thing with Reddy O'Brien?
Yeah, that was Do the Right Thing.
Right. So you see, this is you have little incidents until one big incident, or one that sparks off. So everything that we're talking about up until now, the question that you just asked, that's how it plays out. It plays out in little small pieces until it becomes a big theater of war. That's what happens.
Okay,
it doesn't end well. I tell you that. It plays itself out, but it doesn't end well.
But is there a passivity in the black community in Detroit right now?
Of course there is.
Because everybody wants to be part of this new narrative, and so they don't want to be looked at as
you know
the
what?
naysayer.
It's not even, you know what, Karen? There's a lot of people who don't even want to be a part of the new narrative. There's a significant amount of people in Detroit that don't even know that there's a new narrative. They don't come downtown. They don't do anything. Once it starts reaching the neighborhoods, and it's coming, I'm riding in places that I see listen, you got to understand this, and I tell people this all the time. They have this misnomer that white people are afraid of black people. Nothing could be further than the truth.
Not in Detroit
White people
today.
came to this continent. Listen, they came to this country. They put a flag in the ground, and they started moving west. Within 100 years or 150 years, they became the most powerful nation on this globe. So all of that, they're afraid. That's bullshit. Trust me. You fooling yourself. No. So it's not that they want to be a part of it. They don't even know that it's going on. Where the problem is going to hit once it starts to spread out into the neighborhoods. Once you start going north of Grand Boulevard and you keep going north, and then you start going west of Woodward Avenue, that's when you're going to start having issues.
All right, watch this too, man. There's a class issue again. See, Karen, you're not going to have a problem in the restaurant. Skip, you're not going to have a problem.
BS, that's not true.
You did?
Oh, yeah, don't say that.
That's because you made it.
What happened?
I didn't make it. I never said no. This was a while ago. And I went in a restaurant in Corktown. The restaurant is about the size of my kitchen.
I remember you talking about this.
And people were like, oh, well, he's a nice guy. I didn't say anything about him. I said I had a bad experience. And, you know, it was. I mean, there were 2 other diners, tables that were filled. I was the only person of color there. And I'm sitting there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. My guest arrived at 30 minutes. You know, I'm always early. Nobody said anything. My guest was white, And then the person came over and said, can I help you? I'm like, hell no, I've been sitting for 30 minutes. I'd never been there. I didn't know. Do I go? Nobody said, can I help you? You want some water? Go to hell, get out. I never said it was racially discriminatory. Maybe I was overdressed.
But do you think it was racially discriminatory?
I'm just saying, well, it was the most blatant distinction between.
Because once your guest came who was white,
yeah, and then
they came right up.
But my point is that I said, okay, maybe I was overdressed. Maybe they heard the rumor that I was a mean person. I don't know what it was.
Or maybe you were black. Well, let me ask you this, Karen.
Perhaps.
Now you posed the question earlier on how is it because we're passive or we're whatever you said. So how did you deal with that? And how do you continue knowing that took place? And more than likely, because you do have a voice, so you could express your outrage.
Well, I actually.
Oh, she went right to Facebook.
Yeah, I spoke up and out.
Yeah.
And I said, in this day and time, it's unfortunate that I can go to a restaurant in an area that was considered progressive, I thought, and still receive discriminatory behavior.
You mean hipster white?
Yeah, exactly. So
I
expected the waiter to be like some gay hippie and everybody's happy and hey, dude, with a joint behind their ear.
Was not that way.
And so I did. I posted it on Facebook. And from there, the owner reached out to Stephen Henderson, who was at the Free Press at the time, and said, Karen Dumas is trying to close down my restaurant. And asked Stephen to facilitate a meeting between us two. I said, dude, I'm not trying to close down your restaurant. I didn't say don't go. I didn't say any of that. I said this was my experience and that I had an issue with it. So, yeah, I did speak up and I spoke out about it.
Have you been back?
Hell no.
Ooh. All right, look, Skip. Will you come in to the basement one day?
Lower level.
Listen, of course.
Okay.
Charlie, you're my favorite guy, and Karen is absolutely my favorite girl.
Listen, dude, I can't wait. But listen, come around the side door. Down the base. It's the suburbs, bro. Don't
sit out front for too long. They will call the police.
If you know what I'm saying.
Well, I haven't been outside for a long time. I haven't got a lot of vitamin D. My sister laughed and joked and said, you know the reason you don't. It's a true story what I'm about to tell you. When I was about 19 years old.
Yeah.
The police got up behind me, man. I took them on a high-speed chase. I outran them. I made a few turns, parked the car, jumped out, ran. I paid my cousin to go get the car. This was wrong with me. I said, now they gonna pull you over. I said, when they pull you over, ask them why were they following you in the first place. Guess what they said? We saw a white guy driving through this neighborhood and we thought it to be very suspicious.
Skip is the most. Skip is an educated and intelligent gangster.
You sure the fuck is.
Listen,
straight up.
Skip is a guy who's just trying to survive.
My man. All right, so we'll see you soon, dude. Thanks a lot. That was really interesting, man. I want you to hang. I just want you to hang. No, just stay on the line. Stay on the line because I want to do this before we go out with our thing. I just want to acknowledge John Dingell, right? Longest ever serving member of Congress from downriver, 60 years. The man helped write most of the nation's major environmental and energy laws. He died Thursday. He was 92. Now, if you don't know John Dingell, look, he's a Democrat. I don't give a shit. I'm a middle of the road guy. I did respect this man a lot. So
I respect him as well.
He loved to work.
If I may add this, you can't like John Conyers without liking John Dingell because there would be no John Conyers if not for John Dingell. John Conyers got his start working for John Dingell. He schooled him on everything he knew.
Yeah, and you know what? First of all, listen, let me say this. John Dingell, okay, introduced universal health care every year he was in Congress.
That's right.
Eventually, Obamacare became a morph of that. Whether you like it or not, the man was consistent about working people. The legislation that he helped personally become law, the National Wilderness Act of 1964, all you hunters out there. The Water Quality Act of 1965 brought the dead Great Lakes back. The Endangered Species Act of 1973 brought the bald eagle back. The Safe Drinking Water Act of 1974. Hello, Flint. The Clean Air Act of 1990. Hello, everybody. He was a veteran. He was pro-gun, was he not?
Yes, he was.
He sure was.
Yeah.
His He's a blue-collar dude.
But Charlie, thank you for that, because
There's only a few Congress people that I could point to that represent Michigan that have impressive records like that. He's one of only a very, very few, but he's certainly one of them. So,
but Charlie,
listen,
I wanted to thank you for doing that, because as we're celebrating his life, his legacy, for taking the time to actually point out what he did outside of just serving. He did something, and I think that those
major legislation,
exactly, in a major way that will have lasting impact. But thank you, Charlie, for always doing your homework.
Thank you very much. And you know what, Skip? One more thing here.
I'm listening.
I want to get back to what's going on in the city right now. There's some trouble coming, and I would suggest that they call Zany Law with offices in Lansing, Detroit, and Grand Rapids. You heard of Zany Law?
No.
They specialize in criminal defense, civil rights litigation, personal injury, and if you're a light-skinned white brother running through a black neighborhood, they'll do you. They'll hook you up, man. Listen, write this down, Skip. 517-292-7000. Okay? Tell them LeDuff sent you. 517-292-7000. Because, Skip, when things get zany, you call Ed Zany. You know what I'm saying?
And we don't need zany.
Okay, here we go. So I want you to stay on the line and listen to this, okay? I think you'll like it. There was another death this past week. Okay, in fact...
I'm going to put the phone down for 5... I'm still on, but I'm going to listen. I'm not
put it on mute. I don't want you talking no more.
Okay, all right.
What's that, Bob? What you doing? You got it queued up? Okay, so here's the thing. The Coney King died 4 deaths in the span of a week. You know Lafayette and American Coney Island, right?
That's correct.
This is the real story. Let's roll it, Bobby. George Karros, the Detroit Coney King, died 4 times last week. To make matters worse, the reports of his multiple deaths bubbled among family and friends of the other George Karros Coney Kings, who are related, share the same name, and also reside in the Detroit area, thus sowing confusion and despair all around as they fielded condolence calls for a man who was not their father. The first death of George Karros, former proprietor of Lafayette, Coney Island, occurred 2 weeks ago at his home in Illinois. He died peacefully at 87. The second death of Lafayette George came a week later when his passing was reported online by a local newspaper as breaking news. The story was riddled with inaccuracies, which were quickly copied and disseminated by the other news outlets. That's when the calls started pouring into the other George Karros families. The third death came the following morning when a corrected story was published in the paper's print edition, which was gratifying to the other Karros Coney families who had been barraged with texts and voicemails. Yes, all was good, except for the fact that the photograph was not that of Lafayette George, but rather of his cousin, also named George Karros, himself the one-time prince of American Coney Island, located directly next door to Lafayette Coney Island at the corner of Michigan Avenue and Lafayette Boulevard in downtown Detroit. The two Georges were related and grew up together, but it can be accurately reported that they were, in fact, not the same person. Sadly, George of American Coney Island passed away in 2002, and now here he was, passing away again, making him our 4th George Karros of the week. Imagine the confusion of poor Chuck Karros, 83, the retired king of American Coney Island, when the morning paper arrived on his porch. Looking up at him was the picture of his brother next to the story of his cousin. It must be said that Chuck is living the latter years of old age and struggling with the difficulties that come with that. Looking down at the thin news pages, his first feelings were those of disorientation, something like an old sailor on rough, strange seas. My brother died. And then the tears flowed. Oh my God, I'm next. And then King Chuck gathered himself, wiped his eyes, poured a regal cocktail, laughed hysterically, and then canceled his subscription to the newspaper. The story of the Keros family deserves to be properly memorialized. It stretches from the old world mountains of Greece to the bustling new world boulevards of America. They are a clan who has prospered and multiplied, changed what and how we eat, and all the while become a cultural touchstone of the Motor City. It begins in the impoverished village of Dara, when 16-year-old Konstantinos Kyriakopoulos is sent down the mountain by his father. Yes, his name was George too, to the docks of Patra to make his way in America. Gust buys a ticket, boards the Francisca, and lands at Ellis Island in November 1906.
Coming home from Coney Isle by Len Spencer and Ada Jones.
The owner of a single pair of shoes and unable to get much going, young Gus heads to Detroit, but not before the teenager sets his dark eyes upon the electric lights of Coney Island, Brooklyn. He becomes intoxicated by its sounds and smells, its loop-the-loop roller coaster, Tilly's Ferris wheel, and Charles Feltman's Coney Island hot dog emporium.
Meet me down at Lunalina, meet me at the gate.
Gus shines shoes, pushes popcorn on Belle Isle, and sweeps shops. He sends for his younger brother, Vasilios Billy Keros, who makes his way down in 1910, boards the SS Themistocles, and finds his way to his brother in boomtown Detroit. Gus and Billy try their hand in the automobile and pickling plants, but settle on hat repair and shoe shining at a small storefront at 115 Michigan Avenue near Lafayette Boulevard. They install a grill in the corner where they roast hot dogs for sale. The hot dogs catch on after Gus adds a homemade meat sauce, a proprietary recipe that is still used today. Remembering his time in Brooklyn, Gus christens his creation Coney Islands in 1917, the same year alcohol is outlawed in Michigan. Business is good at the new American Coney Island, helped along by the speakeasy and gambling tables in the basement. So good, in fact, that Billy opens his own joint directly next door in 1929, calling it Lafayette Coney Island. It is an amicable relationship. The brothers prosper and have children. Gus, the American Coney King, begets George and Chuck and Joe and Ray. Billy, the Lafayette Coney King, begets George and Tony and John. That makes 2 Georges and 2 Coney Islands on the same block, along with the arcade bar, also owned by Gus. Eventually, Lafayette George assumes the crown from his father, Billy. Likewise, Chuck inherits the American kingdom from Gus. Meanwhile, Gus's oldest son, George, lands in France during the Normandy invasion with the American Armed Forces, then falls in love with a Parisian woman. He lives there for a few years, appears in a few French B films, falls out of love with the Parisian woman, returns to Detroit, only to find his brother has inherited the store. As a consolation, George is given the corner bar. Meanwhile, Chuck sends for his cousin back in Greece. His name too is George, and with Chuck's help, cousin George from Greece opens his own Coney Island in the suburbs of Detroit. But he is another George for another time. Lafayette George eventually sells his diner to his employees, who are neither Keroses nor Georges, but rather Ali and Abdijah. Lafayette George is survived by his sons Bill and Stephen, his daughters Leslie, Sandra, and Madeline, and 5 grandchildren. Much has been made of the family feud between American and Lafayette Coney Islands, but it has been wildly overstated, says Bill Caros, the son of Lafayette George. I used to be sent out on the street to steal customers from American, he recalls. Believe me, it wasn't hard. But we're family. We've always loved each other. To which his cousin, Grace Caros, the current queen of American Coney Island and the daughter of Chuck, responds, yeah, we love each other, but they were trying to steal customers. How nice was that after all we did for them? In Detroit, Charlie LeDuff, No Bullshit News. Yeah.
That was pretty cool, Charlie.
If you can find a better show, listen to it. This is a good fucking show.
You won't have much luck.
I agree, Charlie. That was real good. I like that a lot.
Oh, you're still there, Skip?
And Matt is amazing.
I listen.
Yeah, Matt.
So we lost 2 Giants this week, right?
Yeah, 2 Giants. Yep. John Dingle and Coney Island George.
Coney Island George.
God rest his soul. And listen, the best dog, without a doubt, is at American Coney Island.
They snap.
AmericanConeyIsland.com. The same recipe that Gus came up in 1917 to serve his gambling and drinking patrons in the basement. Hey, Skip, you know how sandwich got invented?
How?
The Earl of Sandwich, right? The gentry of England way back in the day loved to play cards, and he would not get up from his card table, so he instructed his servants to put some meat between 2 slices of bread and thus the sandwich. It came from gambling.
Doesn't everything?
And so did the Coney Island, dog.
Wow.
Yeah, Detroit's the shit. And remember,
Detroit is the shit.
Love each other, Detroit. Sagapo. See ya. This is awesome, this song. I picked this song with Luke Nowacki. Came over to my house, we drank whiskey the other night. Y'all know Luke Nowacki. Maybe you're a big-time city official who can travel with your entourage on the city's dime. Maybe there's no shame in your game. There's a good chance you're going to have to provide for your own retirement and theirs. Luke's real smart. We talked about the economy. Call him up. Any questions regarding your retirement, your kid's education? 248-663-4748. Luke Nowacki, I'm telling you, he's smart. 248-663-4748. I'll see you again, Luke. That was a good party, bro, and thanks for the Taco Bell.
Dance it out, Charlie. Dance it out.
We gotta get Charlie a beat.
It's Greek, man. It's a different beat.
Okay.
God, that Pizooki's nice.